Welcome to a new edition of the Stoneman Diaries. And I'd like to start today with a wonderful healing that actually Stoneman gave to me before our session today. And I have what I call my own personal Stoneman Diaries, and I go back and forth with him about different topics. And I want to say up front that I'm not giving medical advice ever in the Stoneman Diaries. But I really want to bring renewal and regeneration and refresh my cells and live a long life, healthy life. I have two new little grandbabies, and I want to stay around for a long time and be healthy. And he gave me this, what I just felt like was a fantastic healing. He suggested that I contact Methuselah in the etheric realms. And Methuselah was the son of Enoch, and he lived for 969 years. And so he was an expert at longevity. And so I asked some more questions of someone like, what do I do? How do I ask Methuselah for a healing? And he said to ask to have a carriage ride with Methuselah. And so I dutifully said, okay, can I have a carriage ride, please? And I got in the carriage, and Methuselah has been going through my body, going to some old stuck energy here and there. And I just thought it was a wonderful healing. So the way to do it is, I asked Methuselah, thank you so much for coming to bring me a healing. And I'd like to get into your carriage, your chariot. And so I get into the chariot, and then it's up to, I give over to you, Methuselah, and invariably Methuselah will take you to various places that need healing. So I thought this was a special offering. The applied transmission for this channel is to ask Methuselah to take you in his carriage. Give over to him, and he will go to the places within you that need healing. I have a number of questions from you all, and I will start with one that I actually have because it's come up with me a fair number of times talking to Stoneman. He talks about the spiral dance, and I really would like some clarification about it. So I'm going to start there. So thank you, Stoneman, for being with us. And what actually is the spiral dance? It's the tuning of yourself. The spiral dance tunes you, brings you into harmony, brings your into your. It's like if you think of a chord, it's all in tune. So it tunes me. That's nice. So how do I'd love to do a spiral dance and tune myself. How do I do that? You sound the sound that you need. Okay, so this is what I would do. I ask to hear the sound I need. And now I sound it. Thank you. And then what? Sound the sound and feel it in flow around your body. In other words, what I'm doing is I'm opening to the sound. That's how I feel connecting to the flow of it around my body. I open to the sound for me to be in flow. That's so interesting. I felt it going here and there, tapping different places even of myself. And then I don't know if you could hear it in my voice, but my voice seemed to get into a real sense of clarity. And so that would be me in tune. And actually, that makes complete sense that this is how we would tune ourselves. Because at the end of that tone, as you could hear, or I could, it felt very clear. So thank you. I love that. The teaching transmission for this channel is that the spiral dance tunes you. It brings you into harmony, like a chord that comes into tune. The applied transmission is to sound the sound that you need. Open to the sound. Let it flow around your body. So here's another a question from somebody, from Sally. How to help our heart chakra light up, to become led by our heart chakra, to let our heart chakra explode with joy. How do we do that? Stoneman's sort of giving me some beats and some sound. It's through rhythm. You want rhythm. You want drum even, but you want rhythm to help you be led by your heart chakra, because it's a pulse. You want to feel the pulse. Okay, how do I do that? Allow the sound to enable you to feel your heartbeat. Oh, I see. So you want to come up with the beat of your heart, as that's the drum sound. So, boom, 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 boom. And with that, stay with that beat. And you will know yourself. Well, I'm not going to take the time to do that now, but let's all try that. Let's try saying out loud the beat of our heart for quite a while and see what happens. And share in comments if you have some insight about how that felt. Thank you. The overview transmission for this channel is for your heart chakra to light up. You want to tune into the beat of your heart. As connecting is through rhythm, you want drum. You want the pulse of your own heart. Okay, here is a question from Leslie. Are the Hathors the so-called fair beings that built and placed all the stone megaliths and dolmens from Portugal to Scotland? The documentary Megaliths tells how all these sites point to Notion, and these beings were very, very tall. That was us. Of course, we've seeded many, many places on the planet, and we've come to tell you many things over time, all to further the path of humanity's liberation. Thank you. Here's a question from Anique. How can I channel spirit when writing stories? Set your intention. That's probably the most critical piece. Set your intention. And then be natural. Be flow. Do the flow exercise at the beginning of this YouTube channel. Find your true sound. And then engage. Thank you. The teaching transmission for this channel is to be creative with writing, set your intention. That is the critical piece. And then be natural, be in flow. This is Janet. Why is the planet going through such turmoil now, and what does it mean? Well, that's a loaded question because there are many trajectories happening all at once right now in your domain. But the main fear of dissolution is false. Remember, you are the heralders of change. You're bringing the new world. And yes, you have some birth pains. The overview transmission for this channel is turmoil on the planet. The main fear of dissolution is false because you are the heralders of change. Here's a question from Kelly. What is your awareness about Three-Eye Atlas? We know there is much ado about this astrological moment. But be in a sense of trust. Be in a sense of knowing that the universe is massive. There are many more here beside you. And there are many beings that love the planet. There's benevolence as well as harm. Trust the unfolding. Okay. The teaching transmission for this channel is Three-Eye Atlas. Be in a sense of trust. The universe is massive. There is benevolence as well as harm, and trust the unfolding. Here's a question from Cheryl. Will we retain our democracy in the U.S. or will we devolve? Sorry, I'm going to stop right there. Amanda, you could go back to the beginning of that question because I also have another question I'm going to get from. Here is a question from Cheryl. Will we retain our democracy in the U.S. or will we devolve into a society with less freedoms? Another loaded one. We're smiling at you because you're coming through such turmoil, but in your hearts, you know that mankind is good. There's kindness. And yes, that will evolve into the mainstream. Thank you. The overview transmission for this channel is, will we hold our democracy? In your heart, you know that mankind is good. Kindness will evolve into the mainstream. Sort of in that vein, what is the best way to realize local spiritual community to connect with others in real life? That's a wonderful question, and be true. Be true, true, true. Be in yourself, be in your agency, be in your own flow, light up your heart. And that will draw the right people to you. The teaching transmission for this channel is how to build community. Be true. Be in yourself. Be in your own agency. Light up your heart, and that will draw the right people to you. So here's another question. If I were going to ask you one question about what is the most important thing for me to do for my energy body, what would you say? We would say, sign the Declaration of Independence from your personality once and for all. Thank you. I was hesitating with sign, and I realized that every time I hesitate with Stoneman, and I'm always mistaken that there's always a wisdom behind the word that's coming in, and so I thought that was a nice answer. The teaching transmission for this channel is the best thing for my energy body, sign the Declaration of Independence from your personality once and for all. Here's a question from Jean. How to best release hurtful memories that didn't get resolved when my loved one was in the physical? This is a no-brainer because the loved one's still there with you. You need to work with them, be with them, talk with them, experience them, share with them. It takes time to realize that they are there. Work with them in the now. You know, this is an aside, but might be helpful. I have had a few clients who have wanted to connect to loved ones on the other side, and they were desperate to make this connection and struggling to do so. And two different people from the other side told me to tell their loved ones to listen to the solfeggio miracle tones on YouTube and to listen to them in those instances for an hour to clear out the energy field and then start these communications. And I always liked that. I thought that was really good. And then I felt their resistance to doing that for a whole hour, so at least half an hour. So they're called the solfeggio miracle tones, and just put that into search on YouTube. Thank you. The teaching transmission for this channel is how to resolve issues with those who have died. The loved one is still there with you. Work with them in the now. The applied transmission for this channel is to listen to the solfeggio miracle tones on YouTube. Here's a last question for today. You've mentioned to me that the sound of the spheres can reduce anxiety, and I just asked the sound of the spheres to neutralize fear, and I felt a lot of movement in front of my heart chakra. And this is my question, actually. So what are the specific directions? Someone's mentioned to me that the sound of the spheres can reduce anxiety, and I just asked the sound of the spheres to neutralize fear that I felt. And I felt a lot of movement in my heart chakra when this happened. And I'm asking so many of the specific directions. You'll need to explain that the sound of the spheres are the great tones of the universe. It's the sound between the planets. The sound of the spheres carries immense power for coherence, because coherence is what you want. And with that coherence, the fear will dissipate. Okay, so I ask the sound of the spheres to bring healing to my fear. Is that how I ask it? I ask the sound of the spheres to bring coherence to my misalignment that's resulting in fear. Thy will be done, O Homo Tequiesum. So I ask the sound of the spheres to bring healing to my misalignment that's resulting in fear. And so I think that's important. And I just did a whole Stoneman Diary focused content on fear. So thank you so much for joining, and see you next time. The teaching transmission for this channel is that the sound of the spheres carries immense power for coherence. The applied transmission for this channel is to ask the sound of the spheres to bring coherence to your misalignment that is resulting in fear. To explore this transmission more deeply, you'll find a transmission worksheet linked in the show notes. If this channel resonated with you, please like, share, and subscribe to help more people discover this work. And if you have a question for Stoneman, there's also a link below where you can send it in. I'd love to hear from you.